Hi everybody, welcome to Go Math 16.5. Today we are discussing histograms. You may have heard the term histograms before when you were discussing bar graphs. They are very similar and we kind of use those words interchangeably. So let's look at our essential question for today. How can you display data in a histogram graph? First, we're going to start with talking about grouping data in intervals. And I'm going to start with a number line, and this may look like yesterday's lesson on the dot plot. And I'm going to go all the way from 25 to 42. Hopefully I can fit them all. Yay, I was able to fit them all. Okay, so on my number line, I'm just going to add in my data. So I have 125, so I'm going to put a dot above 25. I have two 29s. I have 131. I have three 33s. I have three 34s. I have 135. A 40, and a 41. And I'm going to group these in intervals of increasing by 9. So I'm going to say 20 to 29 is going to be my first interval. I'm going to create an interval chart down here. It's just a T-chart. On the left-hand side, it's going to be the interval, which is going to be from 20 to 29. So on the left side, I would have 24, 23, 22, all the way to 29. Next, I'm going to do 30 to 39, and last, I'm going to do 40 to 49. So I'm just grouping my data. So here is 30 to 39. And last, 40 to 49, and 49 is ongoing because our number line ends at 42. So now I'm going to fill in my chart here. So from 20 to 29, counting my dots, I had 1, 2, 3. From 30 to 39, I'm just counting my dots in that interval. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And from 40 to 49, just counting my dots again, 1, 2. And on that side of our T-chart, we call that frequency. And frequency is just how many dots are above that number. How many times does it occur? So now we're going to take this data and we're going to turn it into a histogram. A histogram is a type of bar graph whose bars represent the frequencies of numeric data within the intervals. Check it out. Let's get that definition down of histogram. Again, it's a type of bar graph whose bars represent the frequencies of numeric data within intervals. So again, I'm taking my data from my chart that I made, my T-chart, and I'm going to create a histogram. I'm going to create a bar graph. So here I go. And on the bottom, I'm going to label that my intervals. That's the x-axis. On the y-axis, I'm going to label that frequency. Oops, that one was a little too close. Let's go like this. All right, so my first interval was 20 to 29. My second interval was 30 to 39. And my third interval was 40 to 49. Now for my frequencies, the highest number that I had was 8. So I could just go up to 8 or go up to 10 on my y-axis. So I'm just going to count by ones. Now looking back at the T-chart that we made, 20 to 29 had a frequency of 3 dots. So I'm going to make my bar graph go up to 3. And then we just color it in. And I'm actually going to label that and put a 3 there. Just because we're not using graph paper, we want to be able to see our work like that. For the interval 30 to 39, we had 8 dots. So graphing up to 8. Coloring it in, and I'm going to label that 8. And last 40 to 49, we had a frequency of 2. Coloring it in, and then labeling it 2. So we just took that data in our T-chart and we translate it into this bar graph. And this bar graph as a whole is called your histogram. Now let's talk about analyzing a histogram. Okay, as we look at this histogram, I want you to think about what can you tell from this data? Okay, so that is our guiding question here. Now, as I'm making this bar graph, I want you to think about something else as well. You know when you go to get fast food, or really you eat at any restaurant, or you go shopping, at the bottom of your receipt it might say, take our survey and get a discount. And when you're taking that survey, you rate the service, the quality of the food, were the employees friendly. So this is a graph of that. So I'm going to label my X and Y axis. Down here on my x-axis, I'm going to put the number of items ordered. By the way, this is a McDonald's graph. And then our y-axis is going to be the speed of service in the drive-thru in minutes. And I'm just abbreviating minutes to min there. So we've got a couple different intervals. 1 to 2 items purchased, 3 to 4 items purchased, 4 to 5 items purchased, and 5 to 6 items purchased is what's being compared today. And our speed of service, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. Now, for 1 to 2 items, it only took McDonald's 2 minutes to make the food for 1 to 2 items. Graphing that at 2. And I'm going to label that as well. For 3 to 4 items, it took McDonald's 3 minutes to make the food and get it to you through the drive-thru. For 4 to 5 items, it took McDonald's 5 minutes to get the food made and through the drive-thru. But for 5 to 6 items, it took McDonald's 7 minutes to get the food out through the drive-thru. So now we can answer this question. What can you tell from this data? If we're asked to analyze this histogram, what could we tell? Well, we could say that just by looking at the bars, 5 to 6 items takes the longest. We could say that 1 to 2 items takes the least amount of time. So we've been talking about greatest value and least value a lot. Now I want you to think about the comparison between these. Look here. And 7. Something to think about there, and see if you can analyze something from that data. Go ahead and add your own right here. All right, everybody, that was histograms and analyzing data. Again, this is 16.5 of Go Math. Thanks for listening.